If you love the blues, you found your new home. The Blues Hotel. Real music. Just talking blues. Real stories. And Blues Moments in Time. The history that shaped it all. 3 podcasts. 1 home. The Blues Hotel Collective. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. From the Blues Hotel Collective, welcome to Blues Moments in Time, where every groove holds a memory and every moment echoes the truth of what came before. Today, we rewind the reel, trace the footsteps, and revisit the chapters that shaped the blues. Here is our host, Kelvin Huggins.
Welcome to Blues Moments in Time, the podcast dedicated to exploring the rich history and the cultural significance of blues music. Today we're turning back the clock to examine the events of February 7. Let's start with the cultural landscape. It's impossible to talk about the history of the blues without talking about the history of the people who created it. On this day, February 7, 1926, a seed was planted that would grow into a mighty oak. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, a man we now call the father of black history, launched the very first Negro History Week. You see, before this, the contributions of African Americans, including the rural bluesmen of the Delta, were largely ignored by mainstream historians. By establishing this week, which we now celebrate as Black History Month, Woodson created a space where the stories of the marginalised could be told. For the blues, this was a critical step towards legitimacy. It shifted the narrative from the blues being merely street music to it being recognised as a profound historical document of the African American experience. Now let's turn our attention to the political climate. Sometimes the biggest shifts in blues history comes from the most unexpected places. On February 7, 1964, Pan Am Flight 101 touched down at JFK Airport in New York, carrying the Beatles. Now you might be thinking, what do 4 lads from Liverpool have to do with the blues? Everything. In 1964, American blues giants like Muddy Waters and Howlin were struggling to find an audience in their own segregated country. But these British lads, they worshipped them. When the Beatles landed on this day, they brought with them a deep reverence for American blues artists. In widely publicising their heroes, they inadvertently launched a political and cultural revolution that forced white America to listen to and finally respect its own blues heritage. Of course, no discussion of blues history would be complete without exploring the music itself. February 7th was a busy day for recording engineers. In 1929, the great Johnny Dodds led his Hot Six into a Chicago studio to cut tracks like Hear Me Talkin'. If you listen closely to those records, you can hear the sound of the music changing, shifting from the collective improvisation of New Orleans jazz to the solitary, hard-driving pulse that would become the Chicago blues. Fast forward to 1956 and we're down in New Orleans at J&M Studios. Little Richard is at the piano, hammering out Long Tall Sally. It's loud, it's fast, and it's technically rock and roll. But make no mistake, the DNA is pure rhythm and blues. That session captured the exact moment when the blues plugged into a high voltage socket and electrified the world. February 7 has also marked the beginning of life for some incredible blues musicians. In 1934, 2 titans were born on the same day. First, down in New Orleans, we had the birth of Earl King. If you've ever hummed along to Come On or Let the Good Times Roll, you have Earl King to thank. He was the legend of New Orleans R&B, a man whose songwriting bridged the gap between the blues shouters and the funk that was yet to come. Meanwhile, over in Fort Worth, Texas, another legend was born that same day, King Curtis, a saxophone virtuoso. Curtis took that gritty, honking sound of Texas blues tenor sax and brought it into the masses. He didn't just play the notes, he attacked them. And sadly, February 7 has also been a day of loss. we end our journey in 1959. On this day, the blues world lost one of its most colourful characters, Eddie Jones, better known as Guitar Slim. He passed away in New York City at the tragically young age of 32. Slim was the Jimi Hendrix of the 50s, before Hendrix even picked up a guitar. He played with distortion, he wore bright red suits, and he used a 300-foot guitar cord so he could walk out the front door of the club and stop traffic while playing his solo. When he died on that day, he left behind a legacy of showmanship and sonic experimentation that forever changed what it meant to be a blues guitar hero. That's all the time that we have for today's episode of Blues Moments in Time. Join us next time as we continue to explore the fascinating history of the blues.